Let's kick things off with a few words on AI enablement, and especially from the kind of leadership manager work perspective. Then some big news from our team. We have Jose Kantola here, our co-founder and CRO. Jose will be sharing the new news on Leah, our leadership enablement agent. Really exciting stuff. After that, we'll move on to seeing Leah actually in action. So going through a couple of end-to-end workflows, one from the kind of engagement side, looking at how engagement results can be analyzed, and then moving step by step forward into taking action. And then one from the sort of performance management review side, looking at a quarterly review workflow. At the end, a few slides on Teamspective's short-term roadmap, and then at the end, the Q&A session. Let's dive in. Everyone is obviously a part of this big AI transformation that's taking place. It's real, it's big, it's moving forward in strides, and most of us have most likely dipped our toes into the big AI lake. Done some first basic stuff with the different AI tools. Some of us can be also very advanced, very mature, using AI in multiple use cases. But let's look at what it actually means in practice, and especially from the leadership, teamwork, manager work perspective. Now, Gartner has been doing some excellent market research on where we are going at the moment with the whole AI transformation, and it's quite clear that the AI maturity is increasing. So in their latest market research, which they published in March, they stated that up to 45% of managers already report that AI has actually lived up to their expectations in how the different tools, the different systems can actually improve their team's work, and how they can, for example, improve their own work as a people manager, as a leader of the team. But it's quite different between using AI as kind of a chatbot in helping you kind of get inspired with some few suggestions, or helping you to, let's say, translate content to another language, compared to what it actually is capable of over a broad set of multiple use cases. And this is something that Gartner has also noticed in their research. So when AI tools are used across a variety of different use cases at work, employees note that they are actually able to be much more highly productive, deliver high quality work, and also they're able to drive effective process improvements in their teams, for example. So there's a kind of vast difference between just a basic level of adoption of where you use AI compared to actually having an AI enablement enabled in your own work, let's say as a people manager, or in the work of what your team does, and how it there kind of automates different end-to-end workflows, for example. Now, here's a really interesting graph actually from the same report. So the productivity gains, they are not linear, but they actually start increasing the more you start to use AI for different sorts of use cases, the more you start to build actual end-to-end workflows. So instead of using, for example, the chat in ChatGPT or in Claude, you actually build skills, custom GPTs, and you kind of link them together, and then you use, for example, the co-work feature in Claude to actually perform work and deliver kind of work outcomes for you while you're kind of working on maybe other things on the side. And this is super interesting, and it really kind of tells on why shows us why the investment into setting up these different workflows, these different systems using the AI tools, then actually pays off quite soon. So there's a really big return in the investment that you're making into taking all of these tools into use. And I think this is a really good time to hand the mic over to Jose from our team to share the big news on Leah. So go ahead, Jose.
Thanks, Jukka. Great insights here. I think it's really nice to see this kind of back some of my own experiences as well, backed by data. And we have seen this exactly same pattern that Gartner has identified, but in our own work and also across our customers and users, that the value you get out of any of these AI-enabled tools increases a lot when you are able to focus your efforts and get more of your work done in the same tools. And that's why we have been building a very broad range of use cases into Teamspective, and that this Teamspective can help you with in your daily or weekly work. The first one you may have seen in many places already is that our AI features can help you write things, draft your assets like creating documents, development plans, crafting action tips, or helping you create a role description or communicate about your insights or meeting agendas. The second category is focused on analysis, so making sense of the data. If you have to go through dozens or hundreds of survey comments or insight trends, summarize feedback, the AI can help with that as well. The third one is focused on coaching. So for example, when you are writing feedback to someone, you will in that moment get some guidance on how to make your feedback better, easier to receive or understand. And the same applies to writing development plans or getting action tips, what to do next. And then the fourth one is just like more of an assistant in general, so helping you book meetings, being there to answer your questions about the data or any other practicalities, and also having like an assistant who has access to all these other skills whenever you need those. But we have, after building all of this, we have identified one remaining challenge there, which is that there starts to be quite a lot of complexity. So these different use cases might happen at different moments in your life and across many parts of Teamspective. So sometimes it can be hard to understand how these link together and where to find each of these. And to solve that problem, today we are launching something new to our customers first, and you are the lucky first ones to hear about it. So yeah, meet Leah. Leah is a leadership enablement agent that every manager has been waiting for. And yeah, we are building Leah to kind of help you take the admin work out of leadership, and also to bring more joy to leading people, do more of that enjoyable part and interactions. And it is an assistant for every manager that knows your team, your role, understands your company's ways of working, and so on. So the really first and a key part of Leah is that it's a personal agent. It's available to every manager, and it has all of this context that makes everything else work in the AI. And then the second key principle behind Leah is that it brings people insights and this guidance and help to your everyday workflows. So you can use it inside Slack or Microsoft Teams, whichever you use at your work. But it can also be connected to ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, or other AI tools. So for example, one way how I use it is that I use Claude every day. I just ask it to connect with Leah and get the insights there. I don't need to go elsewhere. And then the third key principle here is that it's simplifying the whole concept of what Teamspective's AI can do for you. It's one agent, and you can use it to do all of these leadership tasks, preparing for one-to-one meetings or team meetings, writing feedback, help you analyze the data you have, draft development plans, track actions, even build presentations. So there's not that many things anymore that you need to do completely yourself, and you can utilize Leah and all the context and knowledge that Leah has about you and your team. Yeah, and that's kind of roughly where it is today, and we will keep building more skills to it. So if you have one in mind, we are always eager to hear. But let's get into more concrete details and examples. So I'll hand it over to Jukka, and let's get to demos.
Thank you, Josa. Really excited to have Leah out there, and 28th of May is now Leah's birthday. Let's put it into the calendars, and at least our team has been welcoming the new colleague with open arms to our team. Let's dive a bit deeper into what now Leah can actually do in practice. So in the two live demos, or going through the two different workflows, I'll be focusing quite a lot on Leah's agentic capabilities inside Teamspective, and showing you some examples of what can be achieved by just using, for example, this agent. And we'll be sharing all the kind of instructions, all the example prompts that I'll be using in the materials afterwards. So don't be afraid; you'll be getting those for yourself as well. The first workflow is the engagement-related one. So how do you go from insight to action using Leah in Teamspective? And there's a few steps here. I'll be going through them on the slide first, and then jumping into our demo platform to show you it in action. The first set of steps are the analysis and then sort of first action steps. So you might have had, for example, a larger annual engagement survey at your company, or then you might have, for example, regular monthly pulses sent out, so getting results at a more regular basis. But in any case or each case, you have results available in your Teamspective workspace. Well, the first step will be understanding the team health signals and drivers using Leah. Then after that, we'll be asking Leah to suggest some actions based on those results. And then we'll be drafting a message to the team, kind of acknowledging our results, our current situation. And then we'll also be drafting actually a workshop agenda. So we'll be identifying one area that we would really like to talk about with our team and plan some actions together. Now, after this team workshop, there's going to be a couple of post-meeting steps that I'll also be completing with Leah. They are documenting the decisions that we took in the meeting and creating actions or tasks into Teamspective and assigning them to different owners. And then the final post-meeting step that I'll be also showing is I'll be actually scheduling a follow-up pulse survey just for my own team in Teamspective to follow up and track our impact on whether the actions that we're taking are actually leading to better results. And this is really helpful for example, in the event if you only have one big annual engagement survey at your company, you really don't have the luxury of waiting for 12 months to get the next results, but you would actually want to have some results, let's say already in 4 to 5 weeks to see if you're improving. Cool. Now let's jump over into Teamspective. Just to help out in keeping the demo as fluid as possible, I'll be sticking to the web application in this session. But obviously, you could also complete all the steps directly from Slack or Teams, or if you have the AI connector enabled, also from Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot. Now, in this specific use case, I'll be using the engagement module, and most of you are familiar with different reporting pages, overview, heat map, comments, and then the newly released My Answers page. So you've already had these reporting pages in the system. You've been able to go through the results, get the insight suggestions, and it's already been available there. Now, the other functionalities I'll be also using in this demo is the discussions feature, which helps you keep one-on-one meetings and team meetings, help make them effective, and also store all your notes into one place. And then I'll be also using the new tasks feature, which will be launching hopefully after summer to all of our customers. This allows you to keep track of what are the actions, what are the tasks that we're actually completing now as we're trying to improve, for example, our team's engagement. But I'll be using all of these via Leah. So I won't be going into the individual pages here on Teamspective, but I'll be actually operating everything directly via Leah. Now, let's get started with the first prompt. So I'm leading the sales team here in Reporting Inc. And I'm now asking Leah to go through my team's engagement results and then creating a set of insights for me to use. And now Leah gets to work. It goes through the results that I could also myself go and check out from the reporting pages. But Leah really kind of distills everything down and also gives me 3 helpful insights at the end. Really helpful in quickly analyzing the situation for my team specifically. And I can review the analysis, I can go through the insights, and then I can even kind of continue prompting Leah that, hey, I want to analyze this a bit further. Can you pull more comments? Can you really dive deeper into a specific question? Can you compare my team's results to the company average or to our business unit average, for example, whatever. But I can kind of take the analysis further if I need some more insights. And now the next step would be that I have created some insights and I'm happy with them. I think they're really relevant. So now I would want to Leah to give me a couple of really relevant actions that I could take as team lead, and then also actually suggesting actions that our team could take jointly. And now, again, Leah goes to work, goes through the insights, the results from our team, and then starts suggesting actions for me as the lead. I can go through, see how relevant these are. Maybe some resonate a bit more than the others. I can also prompt Leah to focus on a specific area more and give me, for example, a set of actions from that area. But then there's also actions that our team can take together. So the engagement of your team, for example, how the team is doing, it's not solely on the manager's shoulders. Everyone in the team is kind of participating. They can do things that help the team be more effective, be more healthy. So we could be focusing now on one of these actions in our team workshop. But before I want to go into preparing the workshop for our team, for our next team meeting, I'd want to acknowledge the results with my team. So as you know, your team is able to also view the results here on Teamspective. Some of them might have already gone and checked the results out. And usually it's really good to kind of acknowledge what they are, send a message to the team that, hey, I noticed I went through the results. This is what's working. This is what we're struggling. And this is what we could then start working on together. So being kind of proactive in your communication. And this is a point in the workflow that most likely US managers have very limited time to do. So really helpful in Leah being able to generate a draft that you can use. You can continue to prompt Leah to kind of refine it to a direction which makes more sense for you, more according to your tone. And then, for example, copying this into an email. If I would be operating Leah via Claude, for example, I could now ask Claude to already send this message to our team's Slack channel. Now that would be actually really, really effective. Or then save an email draft for my team members, and then I go into Gmail and send the message over. There's a lot of different use cases and benefits. Now, as I'm analyzing the results and going through the suggested actions on my team's behalf, some things really start to resonate here, and I think we should work on a team collaboration norms and ways of working practices. And I think we should have a team meeting or team workshop to discuss this. And I'm asking Leah now to help me create a meeting agenda, which would help me facilitate a workshop like this and what it could look like. Without prior experience, without any company HR shared materials or templates for workshops like this, just like planning or crafting a draft for the workshop would have taken me a lot of time. And in here, kind of Leah produces a really great initial draft of what the session could look like. Okay, 75 minutes maybe is a bit long, so I could ask Leah to make it a bit shorter and also refine the agenda topics based on the time constraint we have. We might only have 45 minutes, so then we could adjust the agenda based on our needs. But really kind of solid, only with one prompt, opening a context, what's working well, where we get stuck, then building the actual agreements or the norms on how we want to work as a team. And I even get some facilitator notes at the end. Now I could now move on to finding a time to schedule a meeting with my team. Leah could help me out there as well, booking the call into our calendars. I could also save this as a discussion note into Teamspective, and that would help everyone to already get the agenda beforehand. Now I could book the times here. Seems that there's some good availability in our team during the upcoming weeks, but I would actually want now Leah to save this as a discussion note into for our team. Now Leah's looking at the agenda that we crafted together and now saving this as a discussion note into the discussions feature for our team. And Glenn, Amy, Calvin, Selena, and Joanne, who are my team members, they already now have the full agenda there saved, and they can go and check out and also use it to prepare for the meeting. Now we would then have the workshop together with the team, hopefully ending in a very fruitful discussion. And then we could either use Teamspective's discussion feature to document the notes, the action items, the agreed norms, for example, directly during the meeting. Or here's actually a kind of creative example of how I could be even more effective. as we know, there's a lot of note takers being used constantly. So I could have a note taker transcribe our meeting. And then I could just ask Leah to save and kind of update the discussion note here on Teamspective based on the call transcription. So below, as you may see here, I have this kind of make-believe team collaboration norms workshop transcript. There's Jukka talking to Amy, Glenn, and Joanne, and they're kind of going through the agenda that we had saved for us as a pre-work. And now I'll ask Leah to go through the transcript and create the notes or save the notes into our discussion thread. And in addition to that, I'll also ask Leah to assign tasks to the owners who are identified for each of the action items based on the transcription. So again, saving a ton of my time as a manager, not needing to kind of type things down multiple times, but really already kind of immediately saving the notes, and then also creating the tasks for the team members, for the owners. So based on the transcript, Amy was the owner for one of the action items, and then I actually was the owner for a couple other action items. And now I could still adjust these tasks a bit. Okay, maybe I don't want to take the ownership of this kind of Slack-related task. I can maybe assign it to Glenn, and then I can also assign some deadlines for Amy and Glenn as well. But these are basically now all scheduled into Teamspective. Everything can be found here from the discussions and also from the tasks list. Now coming to the end of the workflow, as hopefully then people will start to work on the action items. We'll be starting to see what their impact is in the daily work life of our team. It will be really helpful for us to measure that we're actually now improving as a team. And if you don't kind of ask from the team a second time, gather kind of new, fresh engagement data, you'll kind of constantly rely on the old data that you have in the system. So for this use case, it's especially effective for me to send out a quick pulse survey for our team just to check in on the specific areas that we're looking to improve. And Leah immediately kind of spots what were the improvement areas that we're looking to tackle, what were the things or the scores that we're looking to improve based on our workshop and items. And now Leah has scheduled or created a survey draft for our team with these specific questions from the question library. And the schedule looks pretty fine, starting in about 4 weeks. Okay, maybe 2 weeks is a bit too long of a time to answer. I can maybe ask Leah to shorten the time frame to only 1 week or something similar, or still adjust some of the questions. So maybe replacing one of the questions if I'm not thinking that it's super relevant. But then I can just ask Leah to create the survey, and now the survey will be ready as a draft, and I can schedule it in Teamspective, then it will go out to my team. Here's a direct link to the survey. I can check it out one more time and then schedule the actual survey. A lot of different, I would say, manager-related action items, tasks completed in a really quick time frame, really effectively, just by using Leah. And the last prompt that I want to highlight, and something that I've especially found really useful when working with different AI tools, is the fact checker prompt. So really handy to, at the end of your workflow, just ask Leah or any other AI tool that you're using to go through a fact check of what actually was supposed to happen and what actually happened, what was completed in the system. And now Leah gives me an overview that, okay, everything checks out. There's a few pending actions here, so I actually need to go and launch the survey. It's now saved as a draft, and I still need to book the team meeting. So that's a step that we actually didn't complete now in this workflow. I hope you got some good inspiration on how this, what are the capabilities of Leah in its current state. And as you also mentioned, we'll be adding a lot more tooling to Leah so that it becomes even more powerful. Now, here is a quick, before moving on to the next workflow, here's an example of kind of an advanced use case. So using or generating these engagement insights via the AI connector. So gathering the actual health status and getting the action suggestions directly in Claude. There's a few prerequisites for this, especially having the AI connector enabled. But the cool thing is that you're able to then read the exact same data from Teamspective that Leah has access to. But in addition to that, you could actually also read context from other sources that you have linked into Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot. So for example, if you're in a more commercial role, CRMs are usually really full of valuable information and context, or if in more engineering role, then Linear or Jira or something else has more relevant. And then obviously your communication channels, so Slack, Teams, if you have those linked with your AI tool. And the output is actually fairly mind-blowing. I asked Jose to share this example. We're not able to demo this, unfortunately, in Claude because we don't have any demo environment there, but Jose needed to understand how our revenue team is doing. So Jose asked or sent this prompt over to Claude to review the team's engagement results from the past 2 months. We have a weekly survey here at Teamspective, and then highlighting insights, but also using our CRM data and Slack discussions for some further context. Just one prompt, and out of the box, Jose gets kind of a really extensive report on where the team is right now, what are some of the signals that are coming from the other channels that Claude is linked to, and then giving a really extensive summary of what the data is telling you, but also what the team is already doing. So here's an example of the team is actually already acting. So it's not just you having results and then you need to plan on how you start acting, but the team is actually already doing stuff in their daily work. And now Claude is able to kind of surface that for you. And now just thinking about this, this was only one prompt. Having a couple of prompts or like a set of custom Claude skills would have made this even more customizable. So a really interesting new developments taking place. Now to the second workflow, and this one is more a performance-oriented one. So running a quarterly performance cycle. Usually this involves quite a lot of work, and that's, I would say, the main reason why performance cycles are only done on a, let's say, annual basis or biannual basis. But more and more of our customers are wanting to build and create like these quarterly routines. So even more frequently going through the goals that the employees have, how are they meeting those goals, what are the blockers that they're having, adjusting the course during the quarter, then having the retrospective on where the quarter lands, and then using all of that information to plan the next quarter ahead. And with the kind of, I would say, old school tools, this would have been really burdensome. But now, as we start to have more AI agents helping us out, it starts to get actually quite straightforward. Again, a couple of different sets here of steps that we'll be taking in the workflow. First one is the actual kind of goal setting. So kicking off the new quarter or the new year, I'd want to launch these goal setting meetings together with my three of my direct reports. I'd want them to prepare a bit for the session. Now, I also personally, as a manager, I need to prepare for these meetings beforehand. I'm really limited on time, and usually this is the task that then is lacking the most. Then finalizing the quarterly review documents. So we'll be also including a more formal document that will be updated and after each quarter. And then after that, assigning tasks within Teamspective, including reminders based on the agreed goals for the quarter. The second set of steps will be then oriented towards tracking the progress during the quarter, and then having the retrospective and new goal planning for the upcoming quarter. So tracking progress and recurring one-on-ones. How should I do this? How do I make sure in my bi-weekly one-on-ones that we're actually talking about the employees' goals? Are they moving forward? Are we getting any blockers out of the way? Giving feedback to employees. This in the one-on-ones obviously is a really good place to always share feedback, ask feedback from the team member, but you might also have more formal processes or ways to do that. In Teamspective, you can request feedback, you can share feedback to employees, and then there's also the feedback templates that can be used in a more structured way. But we'll be looking at kind of giving feedback to employees using Leah. And then comes the next kind of burdensome task for the manager. So preparing for the quarterly review meetings. I have 3 reports. What if I have 7 or 10 direct reports? This task just kind of keeps on bulging and becoming super big. And for that, we'll be also using Leah. So going through all the goal progress that has been made in the system in our one-on-ones, going through the feedback, and then prepping for the next meeting. Let's jump back into Teamspective for the live demo. And in this part of the workflow, I'm more going to be using the tooling that we have available in our performance module. Feedback collection functionality, our documents feature, and then also role descriptions, and then also be using the discussions and tasks features that were used in the first workflow. But I want to kick things off with prep work. We need to get the goals set for all of our employees. So first of all, I create new quarterly review discussion agendas for my team members. I've got Glenn, Amy, and Selena now that I'm focusing on. And I also want to create tasks into Teamspective so that Teamspective reminds these 3 employees that they need to complete their goal drafts by the end of next week. And then I'm asking Leah to help me book the one-on-one meetings for each of the employees for the week after next. And Leah does this all in basically one response. So the discussion agendas or drafts are created in the system. There's also now tasks for Glenn and Amy and Selena, and then it also proposes some times from our schedules. And I can now book all 3 meetings at once, get them into our calendars, add the agenda links to the calendars as well, and then I would already have these booked, and also a heads up for my team members that what they need to complete next. Now, after that comes my own prep work. So my team members have been prepping their agendas. That's great. Well, now I need to prepare for 3 separate meetings. A huge burden of work for me as a manager, but I can also use Leah as a really good helper to tackle this problem. So it goes through all the discussion notes on the drafts that my team members have been drafting. It also goes through our team's engagement results, and then gives me individual briefings on what I need to focus on for Glenn, Amy, and Selena. So again, I'm immediately well ahead of where I need to be in preparing for my quarterly review meetings with my employees. Now the meetings are coming up. The meetings are held, and we had some really good discussions. We made some updates into the goal setting drafts, but now I could also use my call transcript from my meeting with Glenn. So again, I'll using the call transcript. This is a make-believe discussion I had with Glenn, and I'm asking Leah to update the quarterly review discussion notes based on the call transcript, and then create a new, more formal review document for Glenn based on the notes, and also assign the goals and any other action items with the due date at the end of Q3. And now Leah again goes to work. I'm saving the discussion notes, saving the document. As you can see, this was maybe the most or the most extensive ask I had for Leah. There were a lot of different action items I asked her to complete all at one go. Obviously, this can be chopped up into smaller bits and pieces. Now it then creates the tasks for Glenn's goals and action items with the due dates. Now, I could ask Leah to also give me a suggestion of a one-on-one agenda template that we can use to help keep track of my team members' goals as we walk through the quarter. I'll be skipping now that step in the interest of time, and I will actually now ask Leah to help me give more, let's say, formal feedback to Glenn. And this is actually a new functionality or new tool that we've added for Leah. So Leah is able to actually help you draft and also save those feedback drafts directly in the system, and also send the feedback to Glenn. So first I get a kind of context on what Glenn's situation is, what Glenn's focus areas were, what goals is Glenn working on, and then I could write my feedback here. So it's done in a more conversational way. Leah helps me out to write the feedback. Well, Glenn won 2 new logos in record time. Now Leah processes this and says that, okay, it's not maybe the best possible feedback. Can you give me some more insight? Well, Glenn prepared very well for each meeting and was also persistent in solving blockers. And then Leah will then ask me most likely a further question before I'm able to send out the feedback. Okay, so now this passes the quality check. Now Leah is saving it as a feedback draft. So I can then check what the draft is. Leah is instructed to only use the context and the content that I provided, not making things up. And I can now draft it, or I can then send it directly from Leah. Now the next part of the workflow would be to help me prepare then for the next quarter review meetings by going through all the materials we have here in Teamspective, all how the goals have been progressing, our one-on-one notes, and so forth. Now jumping back into the slides, we are starting to run out of time. I'm always so eager to present cool stuff that Teamspective is able to do in the product. We'll be sharing this more advanced, so a manager review could also be done in Claude, for example. This is similar to the early one we presented. So Jose sending an example prompt, wanting to prepare for the meeting with Jukka, myself, but also using then context from Slack and from CRM data. I'm working in our business team. And here again, the example output is actually really, or quite mind-blowing from like out of the box, really in-depth analysis on what I've been working on during the quarter and what Jose should now be talking with me in our quarterly review. Good. I hope the second workflow was also very inspiring. I hope you got some more ideas of what you could do or take to your teams, take to your companies, and also some further ideas of what Teamspective's Leah is capable of right now. A few roadmap items still. We just released the AI context customization possibilities, so you're really able to customize the context per different employee groups in your company, improving the quality of Leah even further. We're constantly updating the AI tooling, so Leah's capabilities, this is something which is constantly in progress. And then in H2, we'll be focusing on automations. So how to craft different automated workflows, both on like the HR admin level, but also for managers and eventually also for specific or individual employees. Thank you for taking part, and hopefully seeing you in the next webinar.